This, everybody, is the calamandarin. Calamandarin is a cross between two of my favorite citrus fruits, the mandarin, which is easy enough to find, and also the calamansi. Not so easy to find. That is why I do not have one of those here today. Calamansi, also known as calamandin, also known as limau casturi, depending on where you are in the world. It's really, really good. They use them in all sorts of different sorts of drinks. They use them in cooking. Very popular. Also very, very hard to find in the US. Sometimes you can get them in little packets though, which I always have some of these in my freezer because I do like using it. So what happens when you take those two fruits and you combine them together? That is what we're going to find out here today. Before I cut into this, though, I would like to give a thank you to Lou over at MadisonCitrusNursery.com. So if you are somebody who grows citrus fruits or is interested in growing citrus fruits, check out their website. I'll put some information down below. Before I dive into the calamandarin, how about a little review of what calamansi juice tastes like? So unfortunately, you can't really get the fruit itself very easily in the US. There are some people growing it, like in Florida and in California. I've had it before on the channel that was sent to me from growers out there, but you can't really get it from supermarkets. And I'm not sure why that is. It's probably like a disease thing. So unfortunately, very, very tricky to find, but getting in the little packets like this, it's pretty much the same sort of flavor. It's just, you know, a little less fun, a little more expensive. And these are very, very sour. So I'm just gonna take a tiny little sip. Yes! Oh! So, calamansi, I'd say it's at least a 10 out of 10 on sourness. Very, very sour. Maybe an 11. It's way up there. And the flavor of it is unique. There's nothing really quite like it, but things I can relate it to would be it's a bit like lime juice, but with a bit of the zest thrown in. And there's also a hint of actually mandarin itself in it, maybe a little bit like orange. And also it's like a little bit, I want to say like peppery. There's something a little bit spicy about calamansi juice. Very good. Packs a punch though. So what I usually do with these little packets is I will fill like an entire liter bottle with seltzer and I'll put one of those in it. And that's how I enjoy my calamansi juice. Let me also try a little bit of this regular mandarin. Why the hell not? Not very sour comparatively. They're more like a 5, maybe around the sourness of an orange, more or less, depending on where you're getting it from. They are quite sweet though. This particular one, it's not the best mandarin I've ever had, but sweetness on that one is maybe like a 6. I'm not going to describe what a mandarin tastes like because I'm sure you've had a mandarin before, but yeah, good to know what the sweetness and sourness of one is. Okay, so let's pop this open. One thing I've noticed with this, before I've even opened it, is it's a little bit light for its size. You can probably even hear it's got a little different sound to it. It's a little bit fluffier inside this. So I think I can actually open it without using a knife. Yeah, easy peel. Easy peel. It's peeling open the way you would peel open like a satsuma. And also this rind on the outside is very brittle. Very easy to get into. It's got a little funk to it, like curry leaves. That kind of smell. If I'm going to be honest, that calamandarin doesn't really taste like much. It tastes like the mandarin, more like the mandarin, but with less sourness to it rather than more. I was expecting more, like at least getting closer to the calamansi in tartness, but instead it's like no tartness to it. It's very mild. It's still sweet, but not as sweet as the mandarin. So one thing that I think might be going on with this is that might be a little too ripe. See, calamansi that you get from markets in Southeast Asia, they're actually picked unripe. That's why they're green. If you let them fully ripen, they actually turn orange like a mandarin. And I've had those in the past, and they're good, but they lose some of the tartness as they get older. So he actually sent me 3 of these. I'm gonna actually try another one. I'm gonna try one that's a little bit smaller and see if maybe if it's a little bit smaller, it's gonna have more of a concentrated flavor, maybe a little bit more tartness to it. Let's pop into this guy. Yeah, still easy peel. Look at these little baby wedges. Cute. Yep, much better, much better. Okay, so these ones you might want to not allow it to grow so big. The tartness on that, it's not as sour as a calamansi, but it's like a 7 or an 8. It's still quite sweet, maybe like a 6 or a 7 on sweetness. And I would say yes, it actually does taste like the mandarin, but with a little extra punch to it, like you would get for the calamansi. So, yeah, that's good. This is like a calamansi that you can eat out of hand. You don't have to use it in a juice or cooking. It does have a lot of little seeds in it, so you might want to juice it. But that flavor is good. It actually does taste like a mix of mandarins and calamansi together. In fact, let's prove that point. I still have my calamansi juice here, and I've got some mandarins. I'm gonna mix mandarin juice and calamansi juice together and compare it. So I put the equivalent of 1 calamansi fruit in here, 3 mandarin fruits, and about a half cup of water just to dilute a little bit. And yeah, it does taste a bit like that. Not exactly, because, like I said, calamansis are picked unripe. So they have a little bit of a green flavor, if you will. A little bit of that kind of lime-ish, peppery kind of taste. A little herbal. This doesn't have as much of that, but it does have a little bit. It definitely has a little bit more in common with a calamansi than a mandarin on its own. So the calamandarin is good. If you want a mandarin that has a little bit more punch to it, these are good just like out of hand. Would be good as a juice also. But I'm kind of curious what this would be like if you were to pick this unripe and use it the same way you would use a calamansi. But I think this is a fun one to maybe experiment with. If you're somebody who grows plants and you want to grow something kind of interesting in your backyard, this would be an interesting one to play with. Pick it, let it grow all the way, and use it like a mandarin. Pick it a little early, use it a little bit like a calamansi, see what happens. So once again, a big thank you to MadisonCitrusNursery.com for sending this to me. Anyone who grows plants, check them out, and I will see you all next time. I would like to give a big shout out to Smarter Every Day, Bill T. and Joseph McCorkle. They are mega patrons over on patreon.com. To everyone watching who is interested in learning more about how you can support the channel and also get some really cool rewards in return, like early access to videos, exclusive videos, there's over 100 of those. There's even a level where I will send you things in the mail. You gotta check it out, so I will put some information in the description below.